Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports for today's Rainbow Cup South Africa Round 1 Team of the Week. So we had our first weekend of Rainbow Cup South Africa action. Not quite the Rainbow Cup we all thought we were going to get, but it is rugby on the field. It is important for players to get up to fitness. So as I keep pretty much been saying for a while now, a lot of it's sort of working towards something. And right now we're really focused on the British and Irish Lions tour. That is the sort of the champagne of the year. That is what we are all looking forward to. That's the big event. And so, whilst this Rainbow Cup isn't going to be what we thought it was going to be in terms of being able to play teams like Munster, Ulster, and the likes, it is a very important tournament in terms of getting players up to scratch, in terms of getting players' fitness levels up, and to try and sort of fine-tune a few small things, so that when the Springboks kick off against the Lions, we are in a position where we can actually go after them. Despite the fact that a lot of Springbok players are playing overseas, there are still quite a few players in and around South Africa who will be part of the Springbok squad and need to be getting up to scratch. Also, if there are injuries and stuff like that, where do we bring players from? And that's why I think, a couple of players are putting their hands up and trying to sort of force their way into the box squad, which is a very, very good thing. So, an interesting round of rugby. Two pretty close games. I think the Bulls game, 24-9 looks like it was quite comfortable, but I think, it was a late surge. They had 3 tries allowed, and so they did dominate the Lions, but it was kind of a game that sort of ebbed and flowed. Lions had the opportunities, but didn't manage to create much. They had at one stage quite a lot of territory in the Bulls half, but couldn't create any sort of clear-cut chances. The Stormers obviously having quite a big lead against the Sharks, then allowed the Sharks to score 21 points without the Stormers being able to head back, and then sort of too little, too late was the case. So, before we look at the team though, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and this is what we have got for week 1. Quite an array of players and from around the teams. The Lions are the worst sort of represented, as you could probably imagine. And I think I was quite impressed with the Lions. I didn't expect them to be that competitive. And I think that the defensive structures of the Lions probably need quite a lot of compliment, because I think that they managed to keep the Bulls out through some very desperate defense for quite a long time, which is admirable. Equally, I thought there was some very big performance from the Sharks, and not too many Stormers players making my side, because I think that a lot of the good they did in the first half came down to a couple of individuals, and as a whole, it was quite a bad disciplined performance. I mean, it was ill discipline that got them away. But for me, there's a lot of players here who, my second choice, if I had to do a second team over the week, it would probably be mostly Stormers players. So if you're looking at individuals, we're going to start with our front row, and both the props came off the bench. I thought the Sharks-Stormers game, there wasn't too much at scrum time, to be honest. It wasn't that big of a battle, and that was a pity because I was really looking forward to it. So I thought Stephen Kitsoff and Frans Maherba were characteristically very good, but I wouldn't say they had as big of an impact as they probably would have liked. Oxenchair, I thought, was very good. He was very industrious in and around the field. One of his quieter games, it was very, very instrumental in one of the Sharks' tries. A brilliant piece of awareness by him. But I went with Lizo Gqoboka because the Bulls were really struggling scrum time in the first half with 2 very inexperienced props. And Carl Usadi, who makes my side. The reason he makes my side is because the Lions were struggling to sort of impose themselves. They were getting the better of the Bulls, but not quite winning scrum penalties, not quite dominating. The AWC was struggling. And Carl Usadi came on. And those first sort of minutes, a couple of minutes of the second half, where the Lions were really starting to push the Bulls, a lot of that came with the ship that Carl Usadi brought in. He's a brilliant scrummager. And why he was not starting, I do not know. I think that's probably the biggest critique I have for the Lions coaching staff, is Carl Usadi is one of the best tight heads in the country. He needs to be starting. He is a future Bok. You look at Trevor Nyakani, Frans Maherba. After that, in terms of in the country, Carl Usadi is next for me. I think Thomas Dutoit and Carl Usadi are much of a muchness at this stage. I think he's a really talented player. And Scaven Tabeni was given a start for the Stormers and took the opportunity with both hands. He was a menace at breakdown, very physical, and I thought played particularly well. And I thought that also equally, if you look at other scrum halves, Faison Barter scored and tried, but really struggled at scrum time. At line-out time, struggled to meet his jumpers. Equally, I wasn't particularly impressed with either the Lions or the Bulls hookers as well. Scaven Tabeni gets in there. I've gone with Janko Swanepoel. I thought he was probably his best game in a Bulls jersey. Very young player, very exciting, was fantastic at lineouts. His work rate was right up there. He gets partnered by the hat-trick hero of Reniel Hugo. You score 3 tries in 12 minutes. How do you get left out? What a performance it was from him for the Sharks. And then a very big, he's probably the player of the week, but a very big contender for player of the week was Stormers flanker Nama Klaba, who has been deemed the sort of Sia Khaleesi replacement. And I thought he was absolutely brilliant on the weekend. He was everywhere. He hit every breakdown, multiple steals, very physical, loves that physicality. Celebrates the small things. He's definitely a leader. He was the former under-21 province captain and a very exciting player. What I will say, because a lot of it's always, and I think there's a very big Siya Kolisi agenda growing, and as soon as there's a match, it's always, well, Marco van Staden outdid Siya Kolisi, and now Klaba outdid Siya Kolisi. And what I will say is that the likes of Klaba and van Staden, these are fetchers, and number 6 are often fetchers. We all know this. But Siya Kolisi is not a fetcher, and I think what comes with being a fetcher is that it's quite, you're very, very much in the limelight, and it can be a very good thing or it can be a very bad thing. Often fetchers will concede a lot of penalties, but if they get it right and have a good day and they don't, they have 3-4 steals, it's very easy to notice that impact. So I think also, it's quite easy to always say, well, Kolisi's not better than this player because look at all the steals, but he's not that type of player. Because I thought Kolisi actually had quite a nice cameo in the second half, but Klaba for me was probably the best loose forward in the weekend. He gets partnered with Albert Lowe, who is keeping Honor Buerta rightfully out of the bullseye, which is an incredible thing in itself. They need to try and bring in Marcel Coetzee. How do you try and keep all these loose forwards in there? But Albert Lowe, for a young player, is sitting there saying, you're not dropping me. I'm undroppable. Very impressed with him. Nizam Khan I thought was the best of a pretty ordinary bunch. He was very, very hard-working this weekend. Did a lot of the hard jobs, captained the Bulls pretty well. But if you look at all the other number 8s, Willie Engelbrecht getting a red card, very deserved. Thought Frankie Horton was quite quiet for the Lions. Seeking Bozenoche also quite a quiet game for him. So Nizam Khan probably in comparison the best player. Grant Williams, a very impressive performance from him. He's a live way, he's so quick, he's so attacking nature. He's a very exciting player, and I think that the Sharks scrum halves are just, there are so many of them. There's no Hendricks there, and yet you've still got Saneda Nahamba coming off the bench. But I was very impressed with Grant Williams. He's a live wire, he's got so much pace, very quick off the mark. Can find some small gaps. Very, very impressive by him. And fly half was quite a difficult one because I thought Chris Smith played pretty well for the first half for the Bulls. Kate Volter was pretty decent before he went off. I also was quite impressed with Zalinger, who I was quite suspect of, I suppose, before the weekend. I thought he actually had quite a good game, but I was very impressed with the way that Mornestein came into quite a scrappy affair and managed the game so well. Kicks him behind, knowing when to go up, knowing when to distribute. He just showed his pedigree and his class. For the wings, also quite a difficult one to choose. I went with Courtney Skosana and Madosh Tambwe. I thought Madosh Tambwe worked very, very hard. Sibela Sinatla obviously getting a red card. Edwin van der Merwe is probably the one I might have gone in ahead of Courtney Skosana. They were probably much of a muchness. I thought Shavino Jacobs was pretty ordinary. Dropped the ball quite a few times. Couldn't really impact the game. I thought Madosh Tambwe, though, was very hard-working. Spirin Corsi was quite quiet, as was Jaap Penkler. So I've gone with those two. I've gone with Hornell Hendricks ahead of Rickers Pretorius. This is what I'm saying. A lot of Stormers players are sort of bubbling under, I think is probably the word. I just thought Cornell Hendricks was he's very good. He was very direct. When they were struggling to make gain on territory, as I said, at one stage the Lions' defensive line was pretty solid. And when they were struggling to get over that gain line, he was always ready to say, right, I'll get us over the game line, don't worry. He's putting his hands up. He's a fantastic leader on the field and was a massive asset to the Bulls. And then for the fullback, outside centre, I want to see the Similane. One of the few shining lights for the Lions. I thought that he was very impressive. When he gets the ball, he makes things happen. I think it's very rare he doesn't make meters. Not because and the funny thing is, he will always make meters despite being quite lightweight, really. He's not a particularly big player. But that step and he sees space, he's always looking for that offload. He's such an exciting player, and he always tries to get the Lions on the front foot. And at the end of the day, if I'm the Lions, I'm saying you've got to get Wandisile Similane on the ball as much as possible. Create some space, and he will punish any team. Whether it's him personally, whether he's getting people into space, he's a very good kick and chase game, very impressive player. And then for fullback, probably the easy decision of the weekend, Apele Fassi, I thought he was brilliant. Fantastic counter-attacking player, so much pace, always looks to run, really starting to look back to his best. And, we've got some very good flower halves in and around the setup. But I think in the future, we're going to look at, Damien Willemse, Apele Fassi, Warwick Galant. There's some very exciting players who are going to push for the future honours once Willie Leroux moves on. So that's what I've gone with. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I think probably should be more Stormers players. But, I think a lot of them, I said the word used, bubbling under. Because I think Stephen Kitsoff was unlucky to miss out, as was Frans Malherbe, as was Rickers Pretorius. Damien Willemse was pretty decent as well. I thought not as good as Apele Fassi though. So that's what I've gone with. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do smash a like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new. We'll be back with some previews and 5 things we've learned as well from the weekend. So make sure you tune in and check those out as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.